not a lot was happening in my life at the time. I mean, I was 58. I was getting towards the end of my career. I think I had that in the back of my mind, that I was sort of planning to retire at 60. I just felt that I wasn't getting anywhere in my life. I didn't have at that time, a sort of long-term relationship.
I was 50 when I joined Friends First. I'd been married for 21 years and I was divorced. My husband was an elder in our church and he went off with a lady suddenly from the church. And it's pretty devastating, really. I've been on my own for 7 years and I'd had a lot of things to work through as well.
We did get a Friends First, I think, communication, and eventually there was an advert for Friends First in our magazine. So I thought I'd give it a go.
The person I worked with, she joined Friends First about 3 or 4 years before, and she'd met somebody. Quite quickly, they had a whirlwind romance and got married. And she kept trying to talk me into joining Friends First. I said, no, I don't want to join. I'm not going to join. I'm okay. I don't want to. And like 3 or 4 years later, it just popped into my head one day and I did it. That's it.
I did join Dateline, which of course was one of the original, quite, a national agency.
None at all, no.
The Christian connection to it, really.
The Christian aspect was the most important thing in my life, really. It wasn't cheap, and I didn't have a lot of money at the time, but I decided that it'd be worth it because it wasn't cheap. The other people that joined it were going to be genuine, and they weren't going to be time wasted. So I decided I wanted to get my money's worth out of it when I joined.
It was countrywide, which was a good thing, I suppose. The other thing, it was you could decide what age ranges you wanted to meet. So you could be fairly specific.
I like the Friends First aspect, that it'll be a meal out. I can go out for a meal. And if I don't fancy them or anything, that's okay. I've not lost anything.
Out of the blue, the phone rang one Sunday evening and it was Christine. And we talked for, how long did we talk? Probably 10 or 15 minutes, and we got on quite well. Christine's photograph really stood out to me, and there was something about her, whether it was her eyes or there's something. I thought she would be worth knowing. We met at Buxton, which was about halfway, and we had quite a successful meeting.
Unlike Peter, I was waiting for the letter to land on the mat. I went through the names and read the profiles, and I rang several people, and I'd met a couple before. Then Peter's profile stuck out to me because he just seemed like a genuinely nice person. He seemed a steady, sort of reliable person from what the profile said. And I decided to ring him up. So I rang him up one Sunday night and I said to him, I don't know whether you've received my profile or not, but I've received yours. And he didn't know whether he had or not. So we chatted for a bit. And he said, I'll have a look if I've got your profile. I said, well, you can ring me back if you want to tomorrow night. So I said bye-bye, and that was it. We left it at that. And he rang, put the phone down, and he rang. It was less than a quarter of an hour later. He said, I've been upstairs. I found your profile. Yes, I have got your profile. So we talked a bit longer then and arranged to meet. It said he'd been in the same career all his life, and he came from a loving home. He was an only child, and I thought that sounded steady and reliable, and that's what I was looking for. We'd spoken on the phone and arranged to meet. We met in Buxton the first day, and the weather was really bad. It was January, it was the middle of January, it was gales and wind, and not really a day for going to meet somebody. But having arranged to do it, we did. I was just really nervous. And the lads were at home because they were 17 and 18. So I think I told them I was going, and they realised I was nervous. And I told one of them that I'd ring to check in with him when I'd got back in the car again on the way home, just in case I got abducted or anything. But yes, I was in a state of nervousness in the house. I drove to Buxton, And it was lovely. It was 4 hours we had together the first day. We had coffee. I think we walked up and down the high street, nearly got blown away. Then we went in for lunch and walked up and down a bit more. Then we had a cup of tea and then went home again. But it was nice. We chatted easily, and Peter was just a nice person and pleasant company. We had a lot in common, and he was easy to talk to. And it was after we met a couple of times in Manchester after that. And I think after about 3 meetings, I realised that I really liked him and that the relationship would be going somewhere. And I remember speaking to a friend, telling a friend about it. And I said to my friend that it felt like a pair of slippers. And she said, "Oh, slippers are good." So I knew after that it was going somewhere.
I suppose everybody does have some idea of the sort of person that they would like to spend the rest of their lives together with, really. But I like to think that I didn't, in terms of exactly what they would look like, or even, you know, the build or their height, or that type of physical thing. That's not that I wanted somebody who had exactly the same traits as myself, because that would be a bit rather boring and probably asking for trouble. And in many ways, Christine and I are very different people, but the relationship seems to work. I think this is probably true of many marriages. The general attitude to life, and again, Christianity comes into it, and the faith. We are in many ways different in our attitude, or not so much in our attitude, but in our approach to our faith, in the sense that Christine she comes from the sort of Pentecostal tradition, and I was initially, at any rate, in the sort of Anglican, that type of tradition. So, but we bounce our faith off each other, and it works. It works. There were certain aspects which, in terms of hobbies, if you like, I mean, we both like walking, and we still do quite a bit of walking, sometimes together, sometimes apart, but didn't like dogs, cats, and camping. There wasn't much that I could object to in any way at all, really. I mean, she sounded very nice. And another thing I think which is important, and perhaps I should stress, she said that she had 2 sons. Now, I haven't got any children of my own, but I think some people possibly might have the attitude that would be a minus point, if you like, something which you would not want to get involved with somebody else's family if they got a family of their own. But I think that's probably the wrong attitude to take. Well, it certainly was the wrong attitude. It would have been the wrong attitude for me to take. I get on with them both very, very well. And in fact, one of them calls me Dad now, which is quite an honour, I think. And the others, you know, we're good friends, really. I think it's good to keep an open view. When you're looking at profiles, don't be too hard on people, because there are 1 or 2 things on their profile which perhaps you prefer weren't there, if you like. 1 or 2 hobbies that you're really not interested in.
Yeah, we got married at my church in Chesterfield, and Peter invited loads of people.
Yes, loads of people from my church, and other friends of mine came over and made the quite considerable journey, really, to get over to Chesterfield.
Yeah.
And so it was a good wedding, wasn't it?
It was ever so. It was informal, really, because we had them.
It was quite yes.
Yeah, I was in a house group, and the house group rallied round, and they did all the catering and moving the chairs and everything. The reception was downstairs in the church, so it was really crowded because we kept thinking of extra people to invite. So it was quite informal and low-key and not very expensive.
Give it a go, yes. There are different options, I know, different levels of membership, and I know money can be tight for some people, but a few £100, it's definitely worth it if you meet the right person. Don't be too prescriptive in terms of the type of people you're prepared to meet, either in terms of where they live, what their hobbies are, because you probably need 1 or 2 hobbies that you haven't got in common, just to get away from each other occasionally. Have an open mind, if you like, when you're meeting people. And don't. The other thing, it's one of my hobby horses, really. Don't expect perfection. I think some people maybe do expect perfection, A, because there's no such thing as perfection, not in this world anyway. And B, I think if there was perfection in this world, it'd be a very boring world, really.
Yeah.
It's people's imperfections, really, which are the most endearing things about them at the end of the day.
I'd say go for it and make the most of your membership. Use the support that's there, because Friends First do offer a lot of support, and be proactive. I mean, I know I phoned Peter and I did phone some people, but don't just sit back and wait for people to phone you, because you've got to be in it to win it, and just make the most of it.